Hello, everyone. It's the hardcore legend Mick Foley wishing a nice day to everyone there, right there at Tru Heel Heat. Yeah.
Hello. It is me, your True Heel Phenom, SP3. We are back once again with a list video, one of our countdowns. We are going to be doing these monthly here on the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel. It is January 2023, so it's one of the most exciting times for wrestling fans. It is Royal Rumble season, so we are here for the top 10 best Royal Rumble matches of all time. I am here with the man you see every Tuesday on NX3, every Thursday over on twitch.tv/Tru Heel Heat Gaming on Blunt Impact. He is the marijuana enthusiast. He is Mr. Joints and Jabronis, Chris G.
What's going on, everybody? Royal Rumble season, my favorite season. It's only right that I'm here to do at least one list for this. Let's get it.
Let's get into it. We want to hear from all of you, of course. These are our lists. This is based on votes taken from us, the contributors of the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel, some of our Patreon backers and friends of the wrestling media. We took everyone's top 5, with the number 1 choice getting 5 points, number 2 getting 4 points, number 3 getting 3 points, and so on and so forth, and then compiled this list of the top 10 best Royal Rumble matches of all time. In total, we had 18 nominations from the contributors, a couple of our friends in the wrestling media, and only one of our Patreon backers. So we're going to make a call to arms that the Patreon backers, we put up the post earlier this week for you guys to vote. We want to hear your voice, but of course, you can let us know in the comments down below if you think we missed one of the best Royal Rumble matches. Let us know in the comments down below and give us your top 5, top 10 best Royal Rumble matches in the comments, or if you're watching us live on the premiere, let us know in the live chat as well. Chris G, you're here. You're a big fan of the Royal Rumble. What do you love most about Royal Rumble matches?
The anticipation. Not only, who's going to come out next, who's going to win. And now, as we've gotten older and as the Rumble has evolved, there's all these little metrics to look forward to. Who's going to have the most eliminations, who's going to have the spot of the Rumble, who's going to, who's going to have this the Santino spot, get eliminated right off the back. Like, there's a lot of things to look forward to and anticipate in the Rumble. And then sometimes the Rumble, the card itself is usually pretty good. So, it adds to the Rumble match, because either it's a dead card and the Rumble will revive it, or, it's a really good card and the Rumble adds to it or kills it, depending on the Rumble. So it's always good. Anticipation, I think, is number 1 for the Rumble.
As we saw last year, with sometimes the Royal Rumble can kill a show, like it did with last year's Royal Rumble. Don't worry, guys. This is it. Our channel is going to be around for a while. So when January 2024 comes, maybe we'll do the worst Royal Rumble matches. Maybe we'll do the best championship matches at the Royal Rumble, non-Royal Rumble matches at the Rumble pay-per-view. There's so much that we can do, but we want to hear your feedback as well. Not only give us your top 5, your best Royal Rumble matches, give us some list ideas for February. February's coming up. We got Elimination Chamber. We got Valentine's Day. We can do the best couples. We could do stuff like that. We want to hear your feedback as far as these countdowns, because we're going to be doing these every single month here on the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel, 1 per month. So of course, like we did with the end of year for the best of 2022, we've got some honorable mentions here, some matches that received some votes, but not enough votes to make our list. This one came with 3 nominations, it's with 8 points. 1995 Royal Rumble, which was won by the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels, coming in at number one. The famous where the rule came from, basically, of both feet must touch the floor for a person to be eliminated. Shawn Michaels, having the one foot touch the floor, getting back into the ring, eliminating British Bulldog. This is the shortest Royal Rumble match of all time, and I will say this is a fair warning. I'm mentioning this first in our honorable mentions because some people have nostalgia goggles, because 1995, I'm sorry, it wasn't a good Rumble for me.
I don't remember much, but the spot with Shawn Michaels, of course, him being the Iron Man and all that. Yeah, I mean, everybody in this Rumble, I mean, kind of forgotten. I don't feel like there was a lot of star power heavy like in this Rumble. So, I mean, I was only 4. I'm sure I went back and watched it at some point, and I'm just like, all right, on to 96.
Yes, I would say 96 is better. Not much better, but it's a little bit better than that one. Also, with 8 points on 3 nominations, we got the 2000 Royal Rumble. That was in Madison Square Garden in New York. That is the famous one won by The Rock, quote unquote, won by The Rock, as his feet did touch the floor. But the Big Show was considered the last eliminated for The Rock to win. You had Rikishi being very dominant in this one, getting a ton of eliminations. The one moment I remember the most is him dancing with Too Cool before he eliminated both men. Takamichi Noku's famous elimination where he went smack down onto the floor, as well as another memorable moment. What do you remember from the 2000 Royal Rumble?
I feel like this is the one that you were gonna hate the most, just because like this Rumble wasn't that great either. But I mean, it had a lot of moments. Obviously, The Rock winning, Rikishi and Too Cool doing the dance in the middle. And Taka, man, they came in like 3 times during the match, and the last time, bro, sent Taka out. I was like, yo, you ain't coming back after this one. I seen that man. They showed the replay on it. You can see that man's head bounce off the floor. I was like, I mean, as a 9-year-old, I loved it. I was like, oh, this is amazing. Oh my God. But like now I'm like, damn, poor Taka.
Poor Taka on that one. The final 2 honorable mentions, both with 9 points. We got the 1998 Royal Rumble, which of course was one of the 3 wins for Stone Cold Steve Austin. This was the one that they really built the whole Rumble around. This is when they had the bounty on Stone Cold's head with his rivalry with Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon wanting Stone Cold not to win the Royal Rumble. You had Mike Tyson in the crowd. The Rock was the Iron Man. The final 2 being The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin. And I remember Mike Tyson celebrating real hard. What do you remember from the 1998 Royal Rumble?
The Stone Cold winning, the 3 faces of Foley.
Oh yes, I forgot that. That's
the 3 faces of Foley. I mean, is one of the most memorable, Rumble ideas ever. You know what I mean? This guy came out 3 times, and then you hear the backstory about it. I'm like, yo, this man is he's the fucking man. And he hooked it us with the intro. Mick Foley, you are the man. But it was a entertaining Rumble like throughout, and not like star power heavy, but a lot of like up and coming guys and like memorable characters around that area, that era. So I enjoyed that Rumble. I think I put that in my top 5. I really liked 98.
Yeah, it's one that like it doesn't have a lot of like big moments, and it doesn't have a lot of big stars, but the guys that did matter, like Rock eliminating Farouk, continuing his slow burn takeover of the nation. You had the 3 faces of Foley. You had Austin kind of being the centerpiece of it all, coming in the 20s and then coming from the crowd to beat up everybody because everybody was gunning for him. It's just
kind of getting eliminated too, and then nobody seeing it, and then going back into the ring and then winning it.
No. That's his first Rumble win. This is the second Rumble win.
Oh, that was 97.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
that was
98. Okay, 98 is is the win. He gets the win at the Rumble. Then the next night, it's the famous him and Mike Tyson moment on Monday Night Raw, and then the build up with Tyson joining DX, and then him beating Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 14.
This man won 3 times. I get my Rumbles mixed up.
Don't worry. This is what I'm here for. And then finally, our final honorable mention, Chris. Chris G, we got the 2002 Royal Rumble, which actually was making my top 5 list, and then I edited that out. But that was like a close 6 for me as well, and it comes in number 11 for us overall with 9 points, tying with 1998. 2002 was, of course, the one that Triple H won after his memorable comeback at Madison Square Garden earlier in the month. You had the moment with him coming out when Austin is in the ring, and you have them facing off with each other, former enemies, former tag team partners, now facing off in the Rumble, going at it for a bit. You had the memorable moment with Hurricane coming out afterwards and trying to choke slam both men and then getting tossed out. You had Mr. Perfect making his return and having a stellar performance in his comeback. Kurt Angle and Triple H were the final 2. Oh man, this one has a lot of good stuff that I remember very fondly from the Royal Rumble. What about you?
This was it was like borderline. It almost made my top 5 too. Goldust came back, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
He came out number 2, and like the whole Shattered Dreams production, everybody was like, yeah, this motherfucker's like really back. Like actual Goldust. This is great. Triple H coming back was great, of course. And everybody kind of knew it was set up for him to win, but it still made for a good Rumble.
And I forgot the Maven Taker spot. This is the Maven, one of the most shocking eliminations in Royal Rumble history.
Yeah. Then him going through the popcorn and shit. That was great. That was great. Stone Cold facing off with Triple H, after the injury and all that. That was pretty cool. And then Kurt Angle, like in hindsight, like it's like, damn, Kurt Angle was the final 2 in the Rumble. Like they really had Kurt Angle doing the work, you know what I mean? So it was cool. I really enjoyed that Rumble. And Mr. Perfect. It was really good to see Mr. Perfect back. Kurt Hennig, whatever you want to call him at the time. But I enjoyed this Rumble. It was hard not to put it on the top 5, but
yeah, just missing out. That was kind of like, in my opinion, it's kind of like the final Attitude Era. Like the remnants of the Attitude Era was in this Rumble here. But let's get into the top 10 now. Chris G coming in at number 10 with 5 nominations, 10 points overall. We got the first ever 30-woman Royal Rumble match from 2018. The big announcement made by the creator and inventor of all women's wrestling, Stephanie McMahon, who announced that we would have the first ever women's Royal Rumble in Philadelphia at the 2018 Royal Rumble. The roster wasn't as vast as it probably is today. Not a lot of women on the main roster, so this one was very return heavy, but you had Lita making her stunning return early on in the matchup, hitting the moonsault on Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch. Sasha and Becky Lynch actually being 1 and 2 in the Royal Rumble. I thought that was a very nice moment. You had Michelle McCool make her comeback in this one, Kelly as well, Trish Stratus, Mickie James having their showdown when Trish Stratus made her return in this Royal Rumble matchup. I believe she was number 30 for this one, so this was just great moment after great moment. And then in the end, it came down to the Bella Twins and Asuka overcame the 2 faces of the Total Divas era to win the first ever women's Royal Rumble match. And of course, some people will always identify the first ever women's Royal Rumble match with the post match, when it looked like we were going to have Asuka in between the 2 potential champions she could challenge at WrestleMania. And we got the debut of Rowdy Ronda Rousey, and the point that heard round the world, the point to the WrestleMania side. Just keep pointing, Ronda. Just keep pointing. What do you remember most about the 2018 first ever women's Royal Rumble match?
Ronda pointing for like 20 minutes. No. I mean, it was a big moment because it main evented, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
It was very good. It was a well-rounded Rumble. Like, it exceeded expectations. Nobody kind of knew what was going to happen. Like, if it was going to be clunky, or these, the Alexa Blisses of the world, she wasn't in the match, but like, are they going to be able to get over the top rope? Like, no problem, because they are a little smaller in stature. But it was good. It was good. And then all the returns, I remember thinking like, damn, Michelle McCool, like, Undertaker still got clout because she out here eliminating, tossing
Yeah,
Saw some
yeah.
over
I
the
think
top
she
rope
had the most
everybody.
eliminations in
She
that
had like
match.
6 or 7 eliminations. And she came back for literally that match. I was like, they made Michelle McCool look like a beast just for one match. She ain't never coming back. Maybe next Rumble. So she's just gonna be a Rumble beast. The Trish Stratus and Mickey James was pretty cool. Lita almost killing herself on the moonsault. I remember being like,
Oh
"Oh, she
yes,
almost broke her neck."
yes.
she almost didn't clear that moonsault. I remember seeing that. Oscar winning, of course, was always a good feels because we love Oscar on this side. But yeah, the Ronda Rousey shit afterwards, just pointing at the sign. It was just like, "Oh, she's finally here," but then she just kept on. It was like, all right, homie, we get the point, you know. But all together, it was a pretty solid debut Rumble.
Yeah, I thought it was a nice effort from the women, and I didn't have it in my top 5, but I don't blame anyone who had it there. It's so important to the history of the Royal Rumble, an historic matchup indeed. But what I do have an issue with is number 9 on our list here, Chris G. I warned Chris
This is
G
it. This is the one.
before we
This is
did
the
the
one.
list that there was one entry which I will honestly say I was disgusted is on this list with 4 nominations, so one less than number 10, 12 points overall, so 2 points higher. So whoever put these on their nomination rated it very highly. The 1997 Royal Rumble match from San Antonio, Texas. The aforementioned one where you said where Austin was eliminated and then snuck back into the ring to win, but you had Austin, really dominating this match. I believe he comes in at number 5 and he starts tossing MF first out of here and starts looking at his clock. You got the famous moment when he's looking at his clock and he hears the Bret the Hitman Hart theme, and I think that's that is a classic moment in Rumble history. So maybe the 4 nominations just rated it on that moment alone. Austin looking at his clock and Bret Hart's music coming up. Because I'm sorry, just look at this picture. Outside of Bret Hart and Austin, you have Rocky Maivia, you got Terry Funk out of shape in this one, you got fake Diesel, fake Razors in this matchup, Flash Funk.
Flash
Oh my
Funk.
God. It's literally
Is that fucking Flash Funk?
yes, that is. It's literally a match that comes down to the final 4, which was Vader, Taker. I believe Mankind is involved in this because he eliminates Terry Funk. That's where the distraction, where Bret eliminates Austin, but the referees are distracted with Mankind and Terry Funk. And Austin sneaks back in, eliminates Bret, and then he eliminates Taker and Vader to win this Royal Rumble match. But what do you remember most about the 1997 Royal Rumble? Stone Cold Steve Austin's first victory out of 3 in the Royal Rumble match.
That's it. I just remember him winning and doing the old sneakeroo and coming back in and winning. And yeah, that's it. And the Bret Hart, him and Bret Hart just having that moment, but that's about it. It really wasn't much to this match. Young ass Rocky Maivia, fake Diesel. Anytime you put fake Diesel or fake anybody in anything, I'm over it. So sorry.
I was just like stunned when I did the calculations for this. I was like, why did people have this rated so highly? This is one of the worst Royal Rumbles, in my opinion. It felt like Bret Hart should have won this Royal Rumble. Austin winning was a surprise and not a lot at that time. Like heels winning the Royal Rumble. I think he's the first heel to win the Royal Rumble, actually. So it was a big shock at the time, but it's really just a one guy show. It's Austin's show. It's him with the clock eliminating everybody. The moment with Bret, him brawling with Bret, him and Bret kind of being the narrative thread till the end until Bret eliminates him and he comes back in and eliminates him. But there's not much else to this Rumble.
Just Vince in the back looking at Triple H like, this could have been you, Hunter.
This
I gotta
could have
wait.
been you.
You gotta wait your chance, pal.
Move aside. All right. Let's
So he's
get
gonna be
in.
saying in a few weeks too. Move aside, god damn it.
Flash forward to 2023. We're repeating history
Yep.
again.
Yep.
Let's go fast forward to number 8 on our list here, Chris. We got the 2021 Women's Royal Rumble match, coming in with 13 points, 6 nominations. I thought this poster was pretty cool, looking like a comic book and stuff. But I would say, in my mind, in my eyes, I say this is the greatest women's Royal Rumble matchup. Even though it's the only Royal Rumble in history that wasn't in front of fans. We had it was in the Thunderdome, so we had the pixelated pictures of the fans at home, but you had a bunch of returns in this one. I remember Naomi making her return in this Rumble matchup. Bailey coming in very early with Bianca Belair, and I think Bianca Belair comes in at number 3 in this one, and really is the standout, the Iron Woman of this Rumble matchup. Alexa Bliss gets her moment with being the Fiend character at that point, but this one is really what I remember most for, is kind of the glimpse into the future and the battle of the final two of Bianca and Rhea Ripley. It's basically the women's version of the classic Shawn Michaels Undertaker final two from 2007. These two women going at it, the near elimination where both women's feet almost touch the floor and then they come back in, and then the fight in the end with Bianca pulling out a KOD to eliminate Rhea Ripley and go on to become the first African American woman to win the main event of WrestleMania. This was just a couple of years ago, and it's our most recent Rumble match on our list here. What do you remember most from it?
I mean, obviously the fact that it was in the Thunderdome and it wasn't a live crowd there, so it was kind of weird. But it was a solid Rumble. We got a few like nostalgic returns, a couple actual returns, but I feel like the last like 10-15 minutes was all like Bianca and Rhea. And it felt like, I mean, usually it's weird, right? Again, like a long one-on-one type situation towards the end of the Rumble. Like it'll be for a few minutes and then somebody gets eliminated. But this one like was prolonged, and I was perfectly fine with it because both women really did a good job. And it was a glimpse into the future. Like after that, we all knew both of these women were going to be stars. So I mean, I thought it was a good Rumble. I really enjoyed it. Probably the best women's Rumble, I think.
In my opinion, I would say it's close in resemblance as far as like what it represented for what would go on at WrestleMania. It's very comparable to 2005, when 2005 ends with Batista and John Cena, and then both guys go on to win the WWE and World Heavyweight Championships respectively at WrestleMania 21. We go back to 2021, and Rhea goes on to WrestleMania 37 to defeat Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship, and Bianca goes on to the main event of WrestleMania 37 to defeat Sasha Banks for the SmackDown Women's Championship. So I like that kind of symmetry and how it's set up, who were going to be the new faces of the women's division.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it couldn't play out any more perfect than the way it did, you know, especially setting both ladies up for WrestleMania, setting them up for success at WrestleMania.
And it had a bunch of, like you said, a bunch of returns. Kelly being the worst of them. She was not very good in this Royal Rumble match. She was a little bit better in her previous returns in the Rumble, but not very good in this one. Not in front of fans. I don't know. That's what I remember most about the returns in this Rumble match. But let's go on to number 7 on our list here with 7 nominations, 14 points overall. I just mentioned it. We go to the 2007 Royal Rumble match. I do like this poster as well. Just everybody look like they're fighting everywhere and crazy. But this Royal Rumble match, this will 100% be remembered for the greatest final 2 participants in a Royal Rumble match of all time, with The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels setting the stage for their 2 classic battles at WrestleMania 25 and WrestleMania 26, with a near 10-minute epic encounter to end off the Royal Rumble. Just how it starts off, I always will remember, where it's the final 4 of Taker, HBK, and Rated RKO's, Randy Orton and Edge, and Michaels eliminates both members of Rated RKO after they've already taken out the Undertaker, and we got the moment where both men are down, and Shawn Michaels does the kip up, the Undertaker does the sit up, and then we have this 10-minute back and forth that was crazy to watch. It was an incredible moment, and then the Undertaker finally getting the win in the end to move on to WrestleMania 23. What do you remember most about this Rumble match here?
It was a fun Rumble. It flowed well. It had some star power. It was good to see a lot of those guys. It's been I watched this Rumble back not too long ago. I want to say like 2 years ago, and I really enjoyed it. But of course, the last 10 minutes, I mean, right, feels out of place. But it's the Undertaker and Shawn Michaels, so you kind of just like let it happen, and then you see what's happening. You're like, oh, they setting something up. Like they're gonna have to run this back at a Mania or something, and then lo and behold, we get 2 WrestleMania classics from these guys. So I remember most just Undertaker finally getting a win. And I believe he came in number 30. And that was the first time somebody at number 30 had won. And I was just like, finally, there's hope. There's hope. So I really enjoyed it.
Yes, they needed somebody to win the Royal Rumble at the number 30 spot. Like, it's like, what type of advantage you have if you're number 30, but you never win the Royal Rumble? So this kind of was the first one that they had someone come in at number 30 and win the whole thing. So I like it. But you had a bunch of good stuff throughout it. You had the ECW portion of the matchup where I believe Kane does the choke slam on Sabu through a table at ringside. I remember that part. I remember Great Khali coming in and being dominant and eliminating folks, and then it was the Undertaker who eventually takes him out when he comes in at number 30. So it had a bunch of nice moments early on, but primarily this will always be remembered for that final two, the goat final two, because it sets up so much for next year's Rumble as well as the 2 WrestleManias that follow that.
Yep.
And we're gonna move on to number 6, Chris G. And it's like it was set up to be this way. We have the next year's Royal Rumble, the 2008 Royal Rumble, where they immediately followed up from 2007 because 1 and 2 is the Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. So we start off with the end of 2007, which I think was one of the most sublime booking decisions I have seen from Rumble to Rumble. It was like, oh my God, at a time where WWE didn't do a lot of long-term booking, it was like, wow, they actually are paying attention.
They remembered?
Yeah, they remembered. But this Rumble has a bunch of cool spots. You got CM Punk coming into this one more established than he was the year prior as an ECW guy. You also got Umaga in this one, The Miz, John Morrison. You had Finley with this weird entry where it's Hornswoggle comes in, and then Finley, Hornswoggle is about to get attacked by everybody. Finley skips the line and starts hitting people with Shillelagh, and then he just leaves. He doesn't even stay to get eliminated. He just leaves. He protects his son, and then he bounces. It's weird. We also had a bunch of returns. It was in Madison Square Garden, so the crowd was on fire. You had Roddy Piper returning, having that moment with Jimmy Superfly Snuka. You had Mick Foley returning in this one, but it seemed like all the cards were aligned for Triple H to win his second Royal Rumble match. He was in late, and he was pretty dominant at that point. And then the clock hit for number 30. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The pause. And then the greatest, yes, I'm saying the greatest Royal Rumble return of all time. The top guy in the industry, John Cena, just 3 months after getting a separated, I think it's a tricep shoulder injury that was supposed to keep him out of action for 6 to 8 months. He comes back 3 months later to a enormous pop, and this was at the height of Cena hatred, and especially for a smart mark crowd, a hardcore wrestling crowd like Madison Square Garden, the absolute roar of that crowd that usually would boo John Cena out the building, and then they would remember 5 minutes later that they're supposed to boo John Cena, but they just got lost in the moment. They roared for Cena. They were genuinely surprised. When it comes to surprise Royal Rumble returns, I don't think it gets more surprising than John Cena coming back early from injury. And then you had all the great moments that happened after that. You had the final three moment with Batista, Triple H, and John Cena, each doing their taunts, with Batista giving the thumbs down, Triple H with the crotch chop, and Cena saying, "You can't see me." Batista gets eliminated by Triple H, and it comes down to Triple H and John Cena with the attitude adjustment, taking Triple H over the top rope to win the Royal Rumble match in 2008. This is one of my fondest memories because I remember although the crowd was against John Cena in 2008, I was still a John Cena mark, and I marked the fuck out. I ran around my house like it was Christmas Day, and I got my favorite gift at Christmas. This is my favorite Royal Rumble surprise return of all time. What do you think about the 2008 Royal Rumble match?
Well, starting with the Undertaker and Shawn Michaels coming at 1 and 2, I was like, "Oh, they're running it back! Yes, they're running it back." This is also the time like where I started to kind of pursue other interests, and I was kind of slowing down on the wrestling. So I was already kind of souring on John Cena, not completely like, fuck this guy. Like I wasn't a John Cena hater, but I was like, like he's always on top. Like I'm getting a little tired of it, But I was aware that he was hurt. And I remember having a few friends over, and like my dad was watching it with us, and we're like, somebody was like, "Yo, what's up with Cena? Is Cena coming in the Rumble?" And I remember being like, "Nah, man, he tore his triceps. He's out to like probably WrestleMania, maybe after." The match is going on. It was cool. I think John Morrison had a cool spot too. I feel like he did some wild shit. Either him or like maybe Kofi, or maybe that was the year after. But once that Triple H came in and started hauling ass, it was like, all right, Triple H, it looks like this is Triple H's Rumble to win. And then that number 30, man, then you just hit a fucking everybody. Oh, shit. My dad's like, fuck is that? And then he sees like the chain and shit, like on the Titantron, and a white guy. He's like, oh shit, it's John Cena. Like, my pops fucking knew it was John Cena. It's like, he's fucking back. And the crowd goes crazy. I mean, hands down, my favorite. Whether it's the greatest or not, I mean, yeah, you could arguably say it's the greatest. Why not? The greatest return at Rumble, 100%.
Yeah,
that crowd was.
It's because I could think of other returns that I would put on the level, but I was at that point I was a wrestling fan that was reading the dirt sheets, and some of them got tipped off, and I was reading dirt sheets in 2008. None of them said John Cena was coming back. No. It was just kind of confirmed. He's injured. He's gonna be out for a while. And this started the whole Cena is superhuman and can recover from injury like that. It. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Which he's done multiple times. That was the first one though.
Yes, that was the first one that surprised really everyone. But just being in that Madison Square Garden crowd, this is one that I would argue you can make an argument should have been in our top 5, but just missing out at number 6 with 15.7 nominations. So same amount of nominations as 2007 with 14 points, but 1 point higher. 2008, man, love that one. Love that Royal Rumble. I remember that one fondly. Just like I remember fondly our number 5 entry here, Chris, coming in at number 5 with 8 nominations, 18 points overall. We got the 2010 Royal Rumble matchup. I love this little poster as well. I am the one. I am the one. I am the one. But this one, man, this is one Royal Rumble where you can legitimately say had multiple big moments and multiple people who could be described as the MVP of the matchup. First and foremost being CM
CM
Punk's
Punk.
sermon at the mound, where he was eliminating folks and cutting promos about the straight edge, about being straight edge and following in his footsteps. I remember Zack Ryder coming out and he said, "Do you want to be a part of straight edge?" And then he bumps him over the head with the mic and eliminates him. I remember the moment with Beth Phoenix coming out, Beth Phoenix having the kiss with the Great Khali and eliminating him, and then Punk eliminating Beth Phoenix. Triple H would then come out, and then Triple H would, I think, be the one that finally eliminated CM Punk to end the sermons and people booing that. Then you had who I believe is the true MVP of this matchup, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. Despite winning in 1995, 1997, this, in my eyes, is Shawn Michaels' greatest Royal Rumble performance. And we talked about the 2007, 2008 entries and his feud with The Undertaker, but this had all to do with that feud with The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels' desperate attempt to get one more match with Taker. It was at the Slammies in December that he makes the challenge to The Undertaker, said he wants the rematch at WrestleMania, and then you just have Michaels on this wild goose chase of trying to take down, try to get his match with The Undertaker. He eliminates Triple H with Sweet Chin Music almost immediately upon getting into the ring, showing that he's willing to go through any lengths. And then I just remember the desperation when he gets eliminated and Batista hits his hands and he looks like he's trying to swim. He's trying to grab at the ropes before he gets eliminated, and then he comes back in, starts hitting Sweet Chin Music on everybody, hitting Sweet Chick Music on the referee. Just from a storytelling standpoint, facial expressions, body language, this had it all from Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels putting on a hell of a one-person performance, but a lot of people will remember 2010 for the first of two Edge legendary returns. Edge coming in at number 29, immediately eliminating his former tag team partner Chris Jericho, and then in the end eliminating his longtime rival John Cena to win the 2010 Royal Rumble match. This is probably one of my fondest Royal Rumble match, and at the last minute I had to put it in my top 5. But what do you remember most from this one?
The Edge return for sure, because we thought he was done as well. We thought it was like a John Cena type shit. Even more serious though, because it was his back, I believe, at the time. So, like, oh shit. Like, I don't know if I definitely didn't see Edge coming back. The whole story revolving around Shawn Michaels, right? It was good because you kind of felt like Shawn was gonna win because it was really setting it up for him versus Taker. And the only way was if Shawn won. So they just keep beating it in the head. But you kind of still believed just because Shawn Michaels put on that good of a performance. It had the star power, though. You got Jericho, got Cena, CM Punk. That whole, like the first 15, 20 minutes is all CM Punk in that Rumble. He's just tossing motherfuckers out and just cutting those promos. Like, it's great. And then Triple H eliminated him, of course, poetry in motion, I guess. It's
How he would always be, just trying to
right.
take the spotlight from CM Punk.
Kind of, just kind of a recurring theme. But that Shawn Michaels story, just like I remember vividly, like his face after he got eliminated, and he's on the floor and he's in shock and he's like sad, and he just gets pissed off and starts kicking everybody. I'm like, all right, this is good. But Edge coming back, you couldn't be mad with that. I was happy. I was happy to see him win. He came back a little bit out of shape, which he admitted on one of his podcast episodes when he had a podcast with Christian, because it wasn't a rushed comeback, but it was sort of a spontaneous comeback. And but other than that, I loved it.
I very much enjoyed this Royal Rumble. Like, as far as enjoyable Rumbles, this was honestly, for a long time, this was in my like top 3 all-time Rumble matches until recent years, which is a nice segue for number 4 on our list here. We are deep into the top 5. Coming in at number 4 is the first entry that actually got a first place vote. It got 10 votes, 10 nominations overall, 27 points overall. We got the 2018 men's Royal Rumble matchup. This one, man, I feel like top to bottom, this is one of the most complete Royal Rumble matches of all time. You got returns, you got comedy, you got multiple standouts, you got a memorable final 6, a memorable final 4, a memorable final 2, and a great winner. You had the fun little comedy spot with Heath Slater constantly not being able to get into the ring. You had Big E feeding him pancakes to try to recover him at one point. Then you get Sheamus, who finally decides he's gonna be the man to put Heath Slater in, and then he immediately eliminates Sheamus to pay everything off perfectly. You had Rey Mysterio making his return in this one and actually getting a genuine pop. And his performance in this Royal Rumble, he looked like he was 10 years younger again, and this got him his contract later in the year back with WWE. And then, like I said, that final 6, oh my God, I was there live in Philadelphia where we had the standoff of the past versus the future, old school versus new school, with old school being represented by John Cena, Randy Orton, and Rey Mysterio, versus the new school of Roman Reigns, Finn Balor, and Shinsuke Nakamura. Oh, this is so good. It was so good, so good. Then it goes to the final 4 where you have the Vince guys of Roman Reigns and John Cena paired off against the hardcore wrestling fans' favorites of Finn Balor and Shinsuke Nakamura. And then it finally comes down to the final 2 of Shinsuke Nakamura and Roman Reigns, and WWE giving us the winner that we all wanted in Philadelphia and around the world, Shinsuke Nakamura winning the men's Royal Rumble match, and then immediately calling out AJ Styles. Man, I was just like, this was like WWE feeding me. It was giving me everything I wanted in 2018. Being there live, this is one of my favorite Royal Rumble matches of all time. What do you remember most from it?
Oh, I love this match because from top to bottom, it was stacked. And I mean, it wasn't a boring Rumble by any means. I mean, every minute of the Rumble was entertaining. The Heath Slater shit, man, had me dying because I'm like, come on. Like, every time he keeps getting fucked up, I'm like, leave him alone. Come on. Somebody let Heath in. And then him eliminating Sheamus was great, right? At that time, everybody wanted Sheamus to get the fuck out. So it was like, him getting eliminated was great. It was like, yeah, fuck out of here, Sheamus. Shinsuke Nakamura winning is definitely like the biggest accomplishment here because nobody thought WWE was actually gonna, pull the trigger on Shinsuke, and then him calling out AJ Styles after that was like, finally, like this is what we wanted to see, and we were getting it. Him eliminating Roman Reigns was even more.
I think he
crazy.
eliminated Cena and Reigns back to back.
Yeah, which is wild. When you think about it. How much high hopes I guess that they had for Shinsuke just for this moment, because they never did anything with it, it never materialized. But I mean, just the whole Rumble itself was fun. The winner was great. The right amount of comedy. Rey Mysterio looked great. I remember Rey coming out and finally like getting that pop, and like we're like, yes, this is what. Unfortunately, this is what he should have got with 3 years prior that he didn't get, and it's
2014.
Yeah, 4 years prior. So it was like, it's not even his fault. He kind of deserves this one. Everything was good. I have no complaints about this Rumble. One of my favorites.
Absolutely, being there live, man. I will never forget this. This Royal Rumble show is one of my favorites. Like I said earlier, you got the historic first ever women's Rumble. You got this men's match. You had Brock shooting on Braun during the triple threat with Kane. You had
I remember that.
You had AJ Styles versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens as well on this card. So yeah, a bunch of good stuff from 2018, but this was definitely the match of the night and one of the greatest Royal Rumble matches of all time. So let's get into the top 3 now, Chris G. Coming in at number 3 with 12 nominations, 3 first place votes, 33 points overall. This for a long time, and I know we're going to piss off some old school wrestling fans here. We got the 1992 Royal Rumble matchup. My missus herself told me this is her favorite Royal Rumble match, and my oh my, when you look at the list of people in this Royal Rumble match, it's like a who's who. It's like Hall of Famer after Hall of Famer. Roddy Piper, Jake the Snake Roberts, Hulk Hogan, Macho Man Randy Savage, Sergeant Slaughter, Sid Justice, $1 Million Man, Ric Flair. This is like one of the most star-studded Royal Rumble matches of all time. Even like the lower tier people like Rick the Model Martel, Virgil, like these are like legends upon legends. Of course, everyone will remember the 1992 Royal Rumble, though. Undertaker was also there as well in early on in his career, but everyone will remember it for the performance of the Nature Boy Ric Flair. 1 and 2 was British Bulldog and $1 Million Man, and then coming in at number 3 was Ric Flair. And the only person that probably people will remember as much as Ric Flair about this match is Bobby the Brain Heenan with one of the greatest commentary performances of all time. It's not fair to Flair. It's not fair to Flair. Immediately when Flair comes in at number 3, Bobby is going apoplectic. He's like going insane, being like, this is not fair to Flair. But Flair survives it all. He makes it to the final 3, where Sid Justice, at that time a babyface, decides to eliminate Hulk Hogan, and Hulk Hogan, who was always a heel, but despite that was considered the top babyface in the company, decides that he is upset that Sid Justice eliminated him fair and square. So he's going to hold on to Sid and help Ric Flair eliminate Sid Justice. So Ric Flair wins the Royal Rumble match. And not only was this one of the first Royal Rumble matches, this is the first ever Royal Rumble match that was not for a title shot. It was actually for the WWF Championship after the controversy between Hulk Hogan and The Undertaker, which also involved Ric Flair. Ric Flair wins the 30-man over-the-top Royal Rumble match to become the WWF champion for the first time, and people always will remember that post-match promo, "With a tear in my eye, this is the greatest day of my life." What do you remember most from the 1992 Royal Rumble match?
His eyes coming out of his head. Ah, I got the jaw and shit.
A
The
tear in
promo.
my eye.
The promo for sure. Rick winning, coming in number 3, right? Probably the first Iron Man. Technically they didn't come in 1 or 2, but from 3 to 30, still pretty good. The whole Sid Justice at that time, but the whole Psycho Sid and Hulk Hogan saga, it just felt a little weird, like looking back on it, because I actually like skimmed through the Rumble not too long ago. And I mean, it's just a lot of star power. They're like Jake the Snake Roberts, LOD, like a lot of big name guys that we were fans of as kids. Like it was cool to see. It's a very nostalgic Royal Rumble. And then Ric Flair winning the championship at the end of it is just like kind of surreal, when you look back and know the backstory behind Ric Flair and how he left Jim Crockett and joined the WWF at the time and shit. It's wild that Ric Flair was able to come and be the king of the mountain for a little while, and to do it at the Royal Rumble, which is pretty cool, and set up a great match at WrestleMania with the Macho Man.
Yeah, and a lot of things like set up playing off of feuds from previously, like Undertaker and Hulk Hogan going at it in here. You had the moment where Flair was in there alone and he's like passed out in the ring and he's getting up, and then they do the 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and Roddy Piper comes out, and that's like his main rival at the time. That was one of those first moments that kind of preceded the moment that we talked about earlier with Austin looking at his clock and then Brett's music hitting, where the rival of one of the top heel comes out and you see their eyes go wide and stuff. Yeah, Macho Man and Jake the Snake Roberts continuing their feud, where Macho Man for the first time decides to eliminate himself, but he's accepted back in because he wasn't thrown over the top by someone else, I guess. I don't know why he was allowed back into the match, but that was a weird moment. But Macho Man's known for weird moments. Go back to 1993 where Yokozuna kicks out and throws him over the top rope. So man, Macho Man and Royal Rumbles are hilarious to me.
Enough for the Macho One.
Yeah. Now, Chris, let's go to number 2. Number 2 coming in with 12 nominations, so the same as 1992 at number 3, but this one had 5 first place votes, 40 points overall. the 2020 Men's Royal Rumble matchup. This one, man, this was probably one of the most surprising how great this Royal Rumble match became, because in the lead up, we learned that Brock Lesnar, the WWE champion, has entered himself into the Royal Rumble match. And not only that, he wants to make history by starting at number one and taking out everyone so he can call his own shot at WrestleMania. So we have Brock Lesnar interacting with a who's who of people. You had him dancing the MVP's music when MVP returns. You had him having John Morrison in his first Royal Rumble match in a long time coming out, and he takes him out. You have his enemies of the past. This was following Brock having the 10-second win over Kofi Kingston, as well as his rivalry with Rey Mysterio, where Rey and Kofi team up against Brock, and Brock has to overcome them. You got Keith Lee making his main roster return after his performance at Survivor Series, and Brock Lesnar putting Keith Lee over by just saying, "Oh, you a big boy."
Big boy.
Oh my God, I love that moment. That moment is just, Brock is just the man in this fucking Royal Rumble match. Ricochet comes in. It looks like Brock is gonna beat down him as well, but the music of Drew McIntyre hits, and then we have the moment where Ricochet low blows Brock, and Drew comes in and hits the Claymore to finally end the reign of terror of Brock Lesnar. Multiple people would come in after that, like AJ Styles, Randy Orton, and then you get one of the greatest Royal Rumble surprise returns of all time, especially if you didn't read the dirt sheets at that time, and Edge making his return to the ring for the first time in 9 years after having to retire due to neck surgery. Edge, the emotion on his face, the roar of the crowd in Houston, Texas. Man, this is just such a goosebump inducing moment. Edge, just all the emotion coming out, having the moment with Randy Orton in the ring, rated RKO. Orton's about to try to eliminate him, but Edge is too smart. He eliminates Orton. You got the final three of Roman, Edge, and Drew McIntyre. Roman eliminating Edge to the big boos. And then once again, Roman Reigns in the final two, getting eliminated by the crowd favorite, and that roar of the crowd when Drew finally wins. Man, it's a perfect moment. This is top to bottom one of the best Royal Rumble matches, as far as like beat after beat after beat, where it's basically a Royal Rumble of 3 chapters. You got the Brock chapter, you got Drew coming in to finally eliminate Brock, and then you got Edge's return and the finale. Man, it's just so well booked, this Royal Rumble match. What do you remember most from it?
You know, it's wild because I kind of forgot about this Rumble until we kind of hashed it out right now, because I remember like as soon as the beginning of like January or maybe like mid-December hit, like, and we were starting to get into Rumble season a little bit, there was no real clear direction of who was going to win this Royal Rumble, right? Or what was going to happen in the Royal Rumble. And then one Monday Night Raw, suddenly they give Drew McIntyre a microphone, and he's a fucking babyface, and he gets the crowd behind him somehow.
And he starts doing like the 3, 2, 1, yeah.
And people ate that shit up, right? And you know, I liked Drew McIntyre and thought he deserved the shot even before, you know, that I thought when he was a heel with Ziggler, I was like, why the fuck is Drew not being utilized more? You know what I mean? So to see him get that opportunity, and then it felt like he was gaining some momentum. It was like, this motherfucker might win the Royal Rumble. Hold up. And then the whole Brock situation, throwing himself in. You know Brock is going to go in there and dominate, right? So it's like, how is he going to dominate? He entertained everybody for the first like 15, 20 minutes of the Rumble, even when he was just tossing people on their heads. Like,
he was
Brock
in there
is
for a
just
while.
that
I think it's like
entertaining.
25, 30 minutes. And I think Drew comes in like number 16, number 15. Like, he went through like 14 different guys before Drew came.
He broke the record. He or in that 30 man,
13.
in the 30-man Rumble. He threw out the first 13 guys. Then like it slowed down a little bit. Drew came out. All that happened. Drew eliminated Brock. So now you know where it's going. It's Drew and Brock at Mania somehow, some way, even if he doesn't win the Rumble.
And they could have not had Drew win too, because he eliminated the WWE champion. So they could have went with a different winner. That's what made Drew winning also a surprise.
That's exactly, because I was like, once that happened, it wasn't a guarantee that he was going to win the Rumble. It was a guarantee that he was going to face Brock somehow, some way. And I was like, I'm all for that, even if he loses the Rumble, because we're going to get a Drew versus Brock match either way. Uh, Edge coming back, arguably. I think him and Cena, like, those are the top two
Yeah.
Rumble returns ever. I think it's arguable, honestly. Like, I enjoy both of them for different reasons. So uh, it's hard to call on that one, honestly. But Drew winning at the end just like the icing on the cake, like the cherry on top. It was just finally they gave Drew his chance. They're crowning a new top guy, which everybody kind of wanted to see at that point, and they picked the right guy. I think unfortunately the pandemic happened and he never had that real WrestleMania moment, but at the same time he proved that he can be a top guy, and his career trajectory changed from there.
Absolutely. He becomes a two-time WWE champion after that, and it all started with his performance in that men's Royal Rumble match in 2020. Definitely deserving of being number 2, but just missing out on number 1, and it is time to reveal the number 1 entry, the what Tru Heel Heat considers the best Royal Rumble match of all time, with 13 out of the 18 nominations that we received. With out of those 13 nominations, Chris, 8 first place votes, 49 points overall. We got the 2001 Royal Rumble match. In my eyes, this is the Attitude Era. This match has everything that made the Attitude Era great. You got the fun first 2 or first 3 in the matchup being the Hardys. They eliminate Farouk at one point, but they're going at it. And then you get Drew Carey coming in for the comedy, for the giggles, and he's there as the Hardys eliminate each other, and he's looking good, he's looking pretty, and then fucking Kane comes out, and Drew fucking nearly pisses his pants and offers $100 bill to the big red machine. Then you get others coming out, distracting Kane enough so Drew decides to eliminate himself. You get the hardcore section where you got Raven, Steve Blackman, Al Snow, and others coming out, bringing in plunder. And you got the whole hardcore section being represented. That's such an integral part of the Attitude Era. Then you had The Rock coming in very early, I think around like in the teens. He comes in early, considered a favorite. And there was just so many different favorites for this matchup. You had Kane at the height of his powers. You had The Rock at the height of his powers. The Undertaker's in this one. Stone Cold Steve Austin. There's so many different guys that could have won. Rikishi was considered another guy that was a favorite to win this one as well. But in my eyes, this one comes to like a different level, a different higher level, in my opinion, when you have one of the greatest stare downs in Royal Rumble history, when it's down to 3, when you got The Rock, Kane, and Stone Cold Steve Austin, and The Rock and Stone Cold lock eyes from across the ring, and the roar of the crowd where they're like, yes, this is our WrestleMania. This is the WrestleMania match where he really won. Austin's all bloody because Triple H continued his rivalry after Austin cost Triple H earlier in the night his WWF Championship match against Kurt Angle. He gets attacked during his entrance by Triple H, who bloodies him, but Austin eventually gets to the ring. You also had The Rock, who almost got taken out of it after he eliminates Big Show. Big Show throws him through the commentary table. So both men are so beaten up, so beaten down, and they come face to face and just start going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But then Kane eliminates The Rock to set the record with 11 eliminations in one Royal Rumble match. Kane, this should not be kind of diminished or not praised enough how great this was. Kane's greatest performance in a Royal Rumble match, but it was not enough. As Stone Cold Steve Austin, after Kane brings in a steel chair, Austin's able to fight him off, get the steel chair, and with 3 steel chair shots to the skull and then a clothesline over the top rope, Stone Cold Steve Austin realizes his goal, his dream. He wanted to come back from neck surgery. He comes back in 2000 from that serious neck surgery, and he wins the 2001 Royal Rumble to move on to WrestleMania 17. Like I said, if you want the Attitude Era in one fucking matchup, you got the Austin Triple H rivalry, the Austin Rock rivalry. You got Kane at the height of his powers. Taker comes in and he looks good. Big Show returns and he looks good. You got Rikishi at the height of his powers. The Hardys are in there. You got the comedy with Drew Carey and then the hardcore section. This has it all. By far my favorite in my what I consider the greatest Royal Rumble match of all time. Where did you have it on your list, and what's your best memories from the 2001 Royal Rumble?
I had this number 1. This is my favorite Rumble of all time. This is the greatest Rumble of all time, in my opinion. Stone Cold Steve Austin is my favorite wrestler of all time. So there's a little bias there because this isn't my favorite Stone Cold. Let me say it. Let me see how I first. This is the best one, right? I enjoy the 99 Rumble for I don't know what reason because it wasn't a good Rumble. But
Austin should have won that too. Austin should have won that one too.
It was a Stone Cold induced like Royal Rumble, you know what I mean? But this one just had it was the fucking The Rock was like The Rock, you know what I mean? At this point, Triple H, everybody hated Triple H. This was like the first Rumble where everybody's star power was at a fucking peak level, but they were all healthy finally and able to be in one Rumble at the same time. Talk about, I mean, fucking, I'm pretty sure you got guys like maybe Benoit, like they had to be in this match too. Like
I think no, Benoit was in the ladder match with Jericho earlier in the night.
Okay,
this whole show is one of the best shows ever because you had Angle and Triple H weren't in the Rumble match, but they have the WWF title match. You had Benoit and Jericho having arguably one of the best non-Rumble matches at a Rumble pay-per-view with their ladder match for the Intercontinental title. You had one of the best openers for a Royal Rumble ever with the Dudleys going against Edge and Christian for the tag team titles. The only dud on this whole card is Ivory versus China when they did the whole injury spot with China where she does the cartwheel back elbow and then hurts her neck.
Her neck.
Yeah. That's the only dud on this entire show.
Yeah. I mean, I remember. I think Raven was using the shopping cart at that time. So yes. I kind of remember Raven coming out with the shopping cart, right? The Drew Carey spot was hilarious. Kane dominating, I think should stand out a little bit more. I don't know why. I mean, it's obviously overshadowed by Austin winning, his third Rumble, rightfully so. But like, I think this is Kane's greatest performance in the ring ever. Like, he's never looked better in any other match than what he did in his performance in this Rumble. Just eliminating everybody and looking like a fucking total like monster. Like that's how you buck a monster in a Royal Rumble, right? Austin getting beat up early, him and Triple H, him and The Rock, man, locking eyes when The Rock's already on his way to fucking mega stardom. And I mean, Stone Cold's already Stone Cold established. Just like you could feel the magic in the air. Undertaker's finally healthy in a Royal Rumble. I think it was like his first Rumble since like 97, I think, because he was out every year around Rumble time with a different surgery. He had that string. He missed a few Rumbles. It was just good to see like the star power in there, like that. Like you said, it was the Attitude Era in one Rumble match, and I could go back and watch that match anytime and be satisfied.
Yeah,
and it was a prelude to the greatest WrestleMania of all time, I think.
Exactly. It set up a lot of things for that WrestleMania. Like I said, the Austin Rock moment where they lock eyes and stuff. I think Kane interacting with the hardcore wrestlers in this one sets up what we would see at WrestleMania with the Raven, Big Show, Taker, Triple H. So yeah, it's just so great. And I was just telling some of the story beats and some of the moments in this Rumble match, and it made my missus be like, I want to watch that. Like she told me her favorite was 92, and then I told her my favorite was 2001 and told her some of those moments. She was like, yeah, I might want to watch that.
I gotta watch that one.
I stopped watching at that time. I might want to watch that. And I was like, yeah, you have to see. In my eyes, I get goosebumps talking about that Austin Rock moment, just when they lock eyes, and it's just like, here we go. Here we go again. We are back at it. You can hear my way or the highway.
Yeah.
You can hear it coming.
It's just I
Man.
could replay the whole video package in my head. You know what I mean?
You think you're special? Absolutely. It all starts here. That is the 2001 Royal Rumble coming in at number 1 in our Tru Heel Heat's top 10 best Royal Rumble matches of all time. I want to thank Chris G for joining me, chatting about all these classic Royal Rumble matches. Of course, Chris G, let the people know where they can find you on social media and what you got going on. Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel, Twitch channel. Tell them, sir.
You can find me at Tru Heel Chris G on Twitter and Instagram. And then you could also see me on the Tru Heel Heat Wrestling YouTube channel on Tuesdays, NX3, 8 o'clock with the two good brothers, Romeo and Ness. And then every Thursday night, Blunt Impact with Ness. We cover Impact Wrestling. We do a watch along for that. That's on the Twitch. And then Tru Heel Heat Sports, you know, we do some watch alongs. You can catch me there. Football, baseball, basketball, boxing, MMA, all that good stuff. And of course, the Patreon. You can see some exclusive content. We got some things brewing. We're going to have a Joints and Jabronis episode ready just in time for the Royal Rumble.
There you go, people. You need some Royal Rumble botches in that.
I'm working on it. I'm going to get a few. I'm working on it.
And like Chris said, go over and follow us on the Twitch channel. We are painstakingly close. We are like 6 followers away from 100 followers. We've been so close to this goal of 100 followers. I'm just hoping if you don't have a Twitch, 6 people watching this video, just go over and help us out. Just create a Twitch channel, a Twitch account, and just give us those 100 followers. I'm hoping we can hit that goal over this weekend ahead of the Royal Rumble. And you can also check out over there Blunt Impact number 104 with Chris G and Ness, watching this week's Impact on Access TV. Also, you can follow me on the Twitter machine at Tru Heel SP3. You can follow the gang Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Tru Heel Heat. Patreon.com/Tru Heel Heat. $3 a month. More exclusive content. Chris G sold you. Joints and Jabroni is going to be over there. You got my Raw report every single week reviewing Monday Night Raw, the Tru Heel Heat post show, the Prediction Championship, Dark Power. We are filling up the content over there on Patreon.com. So it's well worth your money. $3 a month. Help us out if you can. If you're feeling generous, we definitely appreciate it. We're also looking to hit goals over on Tru Heel Heat Sports YouTube channel later today. You can check out our live streams for the NFL playoffs. We had yesterday's live streams, and then we got some today as well as they move on to the championship games. Check us out, Tru Heel Heat Sports. We're approaching 300 subscribers over there. And check out what we got on demand from yesterday, Tru Heel Heat 209. With special guest, the Smart Psychology podcast. It was myself and Ness versus them in our first fantasy wrestling draft of 2023. With we all drafted nothing but Royal Rumble winners. So it's a very Royal Rumble themed week here at Tru Heel Heat. We got our previews coming up, the watch along, and the roundtable review to wrap everything up. So we greatly appreciate all the support for this big Royal Rumble weekend. Next Saturday is the big show. So join us live for the watch along for that. So for Chris G, it is me, your Tru Heel Phenom, SP3. This has been Tru Heel Heat's top 10 best Royal Rumble matches of all time. We will see you next time with another list in February.